I can't outdo the Kelseys. I thought about trying to do that. But 2024 Time Athlete of the Year, 2-time Naismith Trophy. I mean, we could spend the entire podcast, Caitlin, just listing off like everything that you've been doing for the last 4 years. But Caitlin, I really appreciate you taking the time to just hang out for a little bit. It's good to catch up with you.
It. Thanks for having me on.
Caitlin Clark is back, and she's not holding anything back. In a brand new viral interview with the University of Iowa Sports Media, Caitlin dives deep into the moments that have shaped her career, reflecting on her legacy a week before her college jersey gets retired at Carver Hawkeye Arena. From her unforgettable freshman year during COVID to her life as a college student. But that's not all. She gets candid about the WNBA, the friends she misses most, and even her surreal encounter with Taylor Swift at a Chiefs game.
I've been covering you since your senior year of high school, but you and I had never met face to face until after your freshman season because they kept everything so strict due to COVID and everything.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of makes your rise kind of even more intriguing to me, because it's not even the fact that like you've elevated to where you are. You started from the bottom because there were literally no fans in attendance, and like even the TV deal was kind of suspect at the time.
And trust me, her thoughts on women's basketball and her most defining moments on the court? Absolutely unmissable. Caitlin's insights are raw, authentic, and proof of why she's one of the most inspiring athletes in the game today. So, sit tight, because we're breaking it all down. Right here, right now. Are you ready? Let's go.
So, 3 words describe your Iowa career.
I'm going to say special.
Okay.
I'm going to say life-changing, but that's 2 words. Dang it.
It's a hyphen.
Okay, hyphen. Does that make it? Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll count it 1.
Special, life-changing, and impactful. I'm going to go those 3.
Clark kicks off with a bang, describing her career as special, life-changing, and impactful. But why those 3 words? Here's Caitlin reflecting back, with a lot of gratitude.
I like impactful. And I think that from a standpoint of like, obviously I have had an impact on a lot of people. I'm very aware of that. But at the same time, I hope everybody knows they've had an impact on me too. Like it's a 2-way street, and getting to see the young boys and the young girls, or, you know, the people that have drove from miles and miles to come watch us, or whatever it was in college, you know, that has a huge impact, not only on myself, but our entire teams when we were playing. So I hope everybody knows it's a 2-way street on that.
Yeah.
And it really means a lot to us players, and certainly myself.
Next up, Caitlin takes us back to where it all began, her freshman year during the height of COVID. Remember those days? She opens up about what it was like playing in front of empty arenas with only cardboard cutouts and her family in the stands.
Honestly, I don't remember a lot of them. One of the only ones I really remember was probably the Iowa State one at home, where we came back from, I think, down 18 points. But like, we're playing in front of nobody. Like, there wasn't anything like super memorable about that year. Like, you're playing in front of cardboard cutouts and then like just your family members. So that was kind of a blur. And at some points, like it's unfortunate, but at the same time, like I feel like it gave me a year to kind of get my feet wet in college basketball. With that, I didn't have to balance road crowds, I didn't have to balance our crowd, I didn't have to balance all of that noise.
So what really happened during that Iowa State game? And what made it so special for Caitlin?
I look back and watch some of those videos of me celebrating after the Iowa State game, because I think I made 3 with like 40 some seconds to go.
Oh yeah.
To put us up 1 maybe or something. It was a huge comeback anyway. And I was like celebrating like there was 15,000 people inside of Carver, and there was probably like 200 people in Carver watching us. So it's just really funny to laugh at myself looking back on, but it was good times.
But here's the twist. Caitlin reveals how that eerie, quiet atmosphere may have actually helped her adjust to college basketball.
I feel like that allowed me to kind of play more free and kind of figure out myself, and I don't know, just figure out how college basketball works. So, you know, it was kind of unfortunate that I missed a year of college basketball of being in front of our crowds, but at the same time, I try to look at it in a positive manner of like, maybe that helped me, and maybe like that was the starting point of like how I kind of got my feet wet in college basketball. And then obviously after that, it really took off. We played in front of nobody to not being able to get a ticket, which is pretty crazy.
Well, I mean, you got to play in front of your dog at least, though, too.
Yeah, that was basically the only person, my fake cardboard cutout dog.
And when the fans finally returned, let's just say her excitement was off the charts. Here's Caitlin in her own words.
Honestly, I think going into my second year, I was just so excited to like finally get to play in front of people. I remember asking, it was like the exhibition game. And I remember like going up to Coach Fitz, I'm like, how many people do you think are going to be here? Like I kept asking, like I was so giddy on like finding out like how many people were going to come, like what the crowd was going to be like. Like I remember being like so excited to finally play in front of our fans and the people that have supported, you know, the program far before I got there. So I just remember being like super giddy about that. I remember just being so excited. I think there was probably like 4,000, 3,000 people there maybe if I had to guess, but I was like so excited to play in front of people that weren't my mom and dad and my teammates' parents. Like it was like a taste of, you know, kind of what could be or what had been for the program previously. So I just remember being like so giddy about an exhibition game because it was just the first time that I got to play in front of our fans a year after I'd already been on campus, more than a year after being on campus.
Caitlin's upcoming college jersey retirement at the University of Iowa is nothing short of historic. As only the third player in program history to have her jersey in the rafters, she reflects on the journey that brought her to this moment.
I guess now that enough time's gone by, what's your kind of thought process about your jersey getting retired and knowing you don't even just have your mark on the floor? Like your jersey is going to be in the rafters forever.
From wearing the iconic number 22 to making an indelible mark on the court, Caitlin shares how this wasn't a goal she set, but a testament to the love and dedication she poured into the program. Let's hear Caitlin talk about what this honor means to her.
Obviously it gets announced and it's like, oh, this is amazing and this is so cool. But I feel like as the days kind of started to approach here and we're now like a week away from this actually happening, I feel like it's kind of becoming really real. And you know, this isn't like a goal where you show up to campus and you're like, like I want to have my jersey retired one day. Like nobody does that. Nobody thinks that way. Like you just give your all for the program and the university. And, you know, there's been a lot of really good players to come through our program and have, you know, what have been National Player of the Year, Big Ten players, you know, whatever it is. And I think we only have 2 with their jersey retired right now. So it'll be cool to be one of the few.
Now, this is when Caitlin starts to wear her heart on her sleeve.
I think it's hard to probably, you know, really feel all the emotions until I'm going to be inside of Carver and really see it and experience that with my family. And I'm not usually a very emotional person, but I feel like this will probably make me a little more emotional. And usually like when we've had certain things inside of Carver, I've been competing or playing shortly before like something like that has happened, whether it's been a senior night or something like that. So it's hard to kind of evoke emotion after you just competed for 40 minutes. But now that I'm not actually going to be playing, I feel like I'll probably be a little more emotional, even though I'm not a super emotional person. Thankful to have played at a place that loves women's basketball in the way that it does and has really helped me flourish. And it'll be exciting for me to go back and be inside Carver. You know, I haven't been there since I played my last game. So it'll be really special.
In the offseason, Caitlin's been putting in the real work, focusing on refining her game and preparing for an even stronger year 2 in the WNBA. With the help of her new player development coach, Keith Porter, she's not just adding new skills, but fine-tuning the ones that make her so dominant on the court.
You have a new strength coach or player development coach at the Fever now too, right?
Yeah, new player development coach. Came over with Steph White from Connecticut, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been fun to be in Indianapolis and working out with him. And Keith just loves the game of basketball, you can tell, and he puts a lot of time into it. It puts a lot of time into, you know, what we're going to work on every single day, but how does that look in like a long-term plan of my development, and adding little things and refining certain things that, you know, can help me be much more successful in year 2. And then also just trying to get stronger and be in the weight room a lot. So it's been fun. I feel like this is the first time I've really had a chance to like really work on my game and work on my craft and be really focused on it. And obviously that was hard. In college, you know, even going into my senior year was really the last time I could work on things and add things. But
what are your goals for yourself for this season? Maybe for Caitlin this season?
My goals for Caitlin, I just want her to just destroy everything. right? Like I wanna give her like the extra tools to where now the way the teams used to play her, you can't do that anymore. You can't force her to take these shots. So now what do? You just got to take that. You just got to take these points and just get on the other end, right? So that's my goal. I want her to just feel super comfortable in every scenario, every coverage, whatever it is, and just destroy teams, right? You know, the goal is ultimately a championship.
Do you see MVP Caitlin on the rise?
Absolutely.
Caitlin describes how this offseason is a rare opportunity to focus solely on her growth, free from the jam-packed schedules of college basketball and the WNBA.
I feel like this is really my first time in quite some time where I can really like focus and be in the gym by myself and with trainers and rebounders or whatever and really work on things that I need to get better at.
On the court, Caitlin Clark is fiery, intense, and laser-focused, a competitor through and through. But off the court, it's a completely different story. Caitlin opens up about how she shifts gears, leaving that fiery edge behind once the game is over.
You're obviously very emotional on the court.
Yes, I am. I was going to say that. I'm very emotional on the court, but like off the court, I'm not super like, I try to just, I don't know, be like more relaxed. And I take a lot of pride in that. Like once I step off the court, I'm not as fiery and like, I'm fiery, but it's not the same level as when I get competitive and I'm in a game.
Yeah.
Like, it's completely different.
She talks about being more relaxed and composed in her day-to-day life, striking a balance between her fierce competitiveness and her grounded personality. It's a fascinating look at the duality of one of the game's most passionate players.
But it's been amazing to me because you're the fiery, you wear your heart on your sleeve on the court, you're driven, you're competitive. But I cannot remember one time where you've been in a post-game interview or a scuffle after the game or anything like that, and you haven't had like a clear head, you present yourself well. I guess, how do you kind of not let the cup of being competitive overflow into, I don't want to say public image because I know you, it is you, but it still can be difficult to present yourself in the way that you are sometimes just because of all the pressure and everything.
But where does that balance come from? Caitlin doesn't hesitate to credit her upbringing for shaping her mindset. She shares how her parents instilled values of humility, accountability, and grace, win or lose.
I feel like you got to be a good sport, whether you win or whether you lose. But at the same time, I think that's how I was raised. Like my parents, like was just an expectation. Like you're going to be the same person you are, whether you win, whether you lose. You're not going to brag about winning. You're not going to, pout about losing and blame other people. You just get back up and keep fighting type of thing. And
for Caitlin, it's all about staying grounded, being a good sport, and always reflecting on what she can improve. It's this perspective that's not only made her an elite athlete, but a role model for fans everywhere. Let's hear Caitlin reflect on the lessons that shaped her approach to the game.
I think evaluating yourself first is, you always got to look in the mirror. You're never going to be able to, whether it's a ref's call you were upset about, if it was this or that the other team did, like at the end of the day, like the only thing that you can control is yourself and how that affects your team. Like you can't control anything else. And at times that certainly can be really, really hard. It's obviously way easier said than done. We've, as athletes, have all been there in any sport. People just get competitive, but I think I always try to remind myself, like, look in the mirror first, evaluate what you can do to get better.
When asked about how she manages the media, here's what she had to say.
Also, I try to, convey my thoughts to the media the best I can to help them understand the game and understand what I'm going through and what I'm thinking, and try to give thoughtful, authentic answers too to help them. I think that's been a great part of, helping our game grow too, is, the articles that people can write or the stories that people can tell or how they can convey the game to people that are reading their article or listening to their podcast. I think that's really helpful too, hearing it from a player's perspective.
When Caitlin looks back on her college days, it's not just the big wins or buzzer beaters that come to mind. It's the little moments that truly stick with her. From grabbing meals with her best friends after practice to, get this, playing late-night video games, Caitlin shares the memories that made her Iowa experience so special.
Well, that's certainly what I miss the most, is just, you're there with, your best friends. And obviously I have some really good friends on the Fever too, but there's nothing like you finish practice and it's like, all right, where are we going to breakfast? Where are we going to lunch? Like, who's coming? Like, and at Iowa, like, as everybody knows, like, we were very close knit. Like, that was my family. Like, we loved each other. Like, if we had just gotten a little bicker on the court at practice, it didn't matter. We were going to still go get brunch with each other and talk about our lives and, you know, go home and play Fortnite together, or you know, talk about whose apartment we're going to all go chill in. Like,
It's a reminder that even for an all-time great, the bonds off the court are just as meaningful as the moments on it.
those are the like fun little memories that we share that, you know, a lot of times are even better than some of the basketball memories. Obviously the basketball memories are great. We won a lot of games, but it's the small little things that nobody gets to see. So I certainly miss that. And I mean, I miss going to practice every day in Carver. Like, I'm the type of person that just loves to practice. Like, I loved going there. I loved competing. Like, Coach Bluter would have us play live literally like every single day. Like, we would just go in there and compete versus one another. So obviously I miss that. And
But life in the WNBA is a whole new ballgame. Caitlin explains how the pro level is all about self-discipline and managing your own schedule. It's a business, and the responsibility falls squarely on the players.
the pros are just so different because it's like such a lot of the responsibility is just on yourself. It's like, what are you, like, you're making your schedule, you're doing this, you're doing that. And obviously it's like that in college too, to an extent, but it is much different. And it's a business at the end of the day. And, you know, college is obviously a business, obviously going more towards that.
Yeah.
But it's much more of a business in the pros than in college. Like, I like to think you're still amateur. You were when I was there, not anymore. Obviously it's not really so much that, but I guess I just miss the fun of being with my friends and, you know, doing things 18 to 22-year-olds do. And
From the structured environment of college to the independence of the WNBA, Caitlin reflects on how different the two worlds really are.
If there's one thing I've learned about you in covering you for 4 or 5 years or whatever, how long it's been, when you talk ball, you genuinely talk basketball. Like, there's no personal relationship attached. So I guess, how do you feel about Kate doing really well in Unrivaled so far, and now she's getting a chance at the Valkyrie to really make a statement next year too?
Yeah, I'm super excited for her, and she works so hard. Like, Kate's still somebody I talk to every single day, and watching her believe in herself from probably my junior year when she was a senior and trying to decide if she was going to even come back and take her 6th year to where she's at now, and seeing her belief and her confidence and herself grow as much as it has, it just makes me really happy, because I've always seen that in her. It was just getting her to believe, like, I am this really good player. I can grow into becoming this really good player. Whether she's going to get in the game, whether she's going to play 10 minutes, whether she's going to play 30 minutes, she's going to give you every ounce of herself. She's going to cheer as hard on the bench. She's going to play as hard in the game. And those are the type of people you want in your locker room. So obviously the Valkyries are very, very lucky with her. And obviously I know she has a great relationship with the head coach, obviously coming over from the Aces. And I think she's really excited, and just happy for her to have that opportunity. You know, it's cool, and she gets to start a new chapter.
Then Caitlin starts talking about Kate's performance in the new Unrivaled 3-on-3 basketball league. Are you ready to hear this?
It's been fun to see her in Unrivaled. Like, I think it's a 3-on-3 is a good style for her. She shoots the ball really well. You know, she's physical. She's a high IQ player. She understands the game really well. So I'm just happy for her, and I talked to her quite a bit, and I know she's worked really hard this little off season she had before going down to Miami, of like trying to get better, and she really has. So just happy for her, and I'll always be one of her biggest fans. So
They then talk about the difference in format of Unrivaled, a 3-on-3 game compared to the traditional 5-on-5. And this is where Caitlin's basketball genius really comes out.
So obviously the 3-on-3 game is a lot different than the 5-on-5 game, and the style that they're playing on a full court. Usually 3-on-3 is played on a half court. And with the fast-paced shot clock, I think it reminds me of how Kate got to play at Iowa. Like, we played fast, we played up-tempo, you made decisions quickly.
Sure.
That type of thing. So I think having that experience is really helping her in the 3-on-3 game, and obviously the Aces did that too. But now she's getting a little more run and getting to play and playing free.
And this is where Caitlin drops a bombshell, especially with free agency underway.
You know, hopefully I can recruit her to Fever somehow, some way, one day. Who knows? I'm going to try to figure that out. I don't know, but it's my goal at some point in my career to team up with Kate again.
Yeah.
We'll see if it happens. People don't get too excited.
We got a few years on that too, and
Yeah.
she'll be making her mark too. Plus, who knows? You might like playing against her just as much as
That's true.
being her
We need to
teammate
have
too.
that little beef and that little battle, so we might have to keep her away from us just so we can keep going at her.
Caitlin Clark's love for the Kansas City Chiefs runs deep. So deep, in fact, that she makes time to cheer for her team whenever she can. Whether it's watching games at home or making the occasional trip to Arrowhead Stadium, Caitlin doesn't hold back when it comes to her Chiefs fandom. And during this interview, she shares how her passion for football has always been a fun escape from the grind of basketball.
A year and a half ago, if I told you you're going to sit in a box with Taylor Swift at a Chiefs playoff game, what do you think and what do you say?
I probably would have been like, what? Like, where would my life be at? Kind of thing. But obviously, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. I've been a huge Chiefs fan. And, you know, obviously Taylor's a huge Chiefs fan too. So it was fun, and it honestly worked out where we could go, and, you know, we had the time, and it was perfect where it all worked out.
But it's not just any Chiefs game that Caitlin has under her belt. She had the surreal opportunity to sit in a suite with none other than Taylor Swift during a playoff game. Caitlin recalls what it was like to share the experience with one of the most famous people in the world. From cheering on Travis Kelce's touchdown to just hanging out like two regular fans, Caitlin describes the night as unforgettable. Here's Caitlin reflecting on that incredible moment.
Taylor is obviously very sweet and very kind, and you know, it's just a good reminder of like people in our position, like we're very normal, and you know, sometimes our lives aren't normal, but like we're very normal people, and we enjoy doing fun things too. We enjoy watching sports. We enjoy hanging out with our friends and things like that. So it just puts, you know, a great perspective on life and, you know, where you're at in your career.
Even though Caitlin rarely gets starstruck, she admits that bonding with Taylor Swift had her in awe.
Yeah, I mean, like, Taylor is probably the most famous person in the world right now, and what she's been able to do over the course of the last couple of years. From obviously her tour was absolutely tremendous, but just the way she's been able to unite people, I think, has been the most powerful thing, and I think it's really cool and special. So, and obviously I got to experience that 3 times. Like, there's just nothing like, obviously you haven't been to one of her concerts, but like being in that stadium and like seeing the way everybody is like passionate about something like that's so fun and so easygoing. It's just like, it's very uplifting and cool.
She talks about Taylor's genuine excitement for the game and how normal the experience felt despite the larger-than-life circumstances. For Caitlin, it was a reminder that no matter how famous you get, moments like this are about enjoying the things you love.
I mean, it's just cute to see how excited she is for the Chiefs, and like getting to share that, I'm like, oh my God, I love this. Like, she loves the Chiefs as much as me. Like, this is incredible. So we had so much fun, and honestly, it was like the perfect game. Like, you know, the Chiefs won. It was close at halftime, you know. Travis scores a huge touchdown for the Chiefs. We end up winning. There was no crazy, like, you know, anything crazy that happened. Like, we felt confident when it got to the end, so it ended up being a perfect game for me to be at.
And that's a wrap on Caitlin Clark's incredible interview. From reflecting on her early days at Iowa to sharing her off-season grind and unforgettable moments like bonding with Taylor Swift, Caitlin's passion, humility, and drive shine through every word. It's clear why she's not just one of the most exciting players in basketball, but also an inspiring figure for fans everywhere. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.